Silksong just made a major statement to the gaming space. Pirators are telling each other to just buy the game. Journalists are mad because they didn't get review copies. And publishers are mad because it only costs $20. And yet Team Cherry not only broke every storefront with a near shadow drop of their game, they broke the record for the highest rated game on Open Critic, which, if you're not familiar, is a site that collects reviews from multiple websites, generates a numeric score and a recommendation percentage for the game. Not too bad for an independent studio, if I do say so myself. But rather than receiving praise from their peers, this game is getting scrutinized at seemingly every corner of the gaming space by pretty much everyone, except for the people that actually matter. The gamer. Guys, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off because in this day and age where every studio seems to be trying to get their hands into your wallets and games are rushed out with quality almost always being an afterthought, good people like Team Cherry are being ridiculed and challenged for attacking the gaming status quo. And I swear, some of the ridiculousness that is coming out of the wake of this game's release is moronic. Studios should have gotten a heads up about this game coming out in such a packed month. Some of the things they're saying. Journalists didn't get early access. How are you expecting them to do their jobs? This boo-hoo, woe is me mentality, this desire to be a victim is beyond exhausting, and it really shows where their interests lie for many in the industry. And I'm telling you guys right now, they care about you, the gamer, last. Your wallets are priority number one for them. And if it isn't clear now, I don't know what will make it more clear for you. This video is going to be different than my typical upload. I usually do hands-on first impressions of games. I'm one of the people that usually get review codes for games, but you're not going to catch me complaining about this one. I knew this was going to be good from the moment it released its trailer. So today we're going to be talking about the success of Silksong, Hollow Knight before it, and why the gaming scene should be taking notes about what they've done rather than having their negative opinions flood the internet. It's giving insecurity. What's the old saying? If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I guess they must have forgot that. 10 years ago, 3 guys had a dream to make a game that they themselves would like to play. According to sources, Hollow Knight started out as a 48-hour game jam, a challenge where people are given a task to make a comprehensible and playable game in a certain time frame. The title of the game jam was Beneath the Surface, and it was inspired by older-styled side-scroller games with an emphasis on exploration. It would eventually be partially funded by Kickstarter, which raised over $57,000 by the end of 2014, and despite there being a ton of negative opinions on the game's initial release trailer, the game would go on to sell over 3 million copies in its first couple of years, then another 12 million copies in its 10-year lifespan. Not to mention the 4 major DLCs Team Cherry released in the game's wake, all of which were free to the player, giving an estimated total playtime of 26 hours for the main story, somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 hours for the DLC, and if you're a completionist, you're looking at 65 hours of playtime, all for the low price of $15. And for my mathematicians out there, that's roughly 23 cents per hour of playtime. And with all the hype leading up to Silksong, Hollow Knight surged to almost 100k players on Steam in anticipation. And I'll tell you guys right now, I'm one of those players. I have friends that have talked about Hollow Knight ad nauseum, singing its praises. So I picked it up. I started playing it on my ROG Ally X, and to be honest, I can't put it down. I've got about 16 hours in it so far, and I've gotten lost more times than I'd care to admit, and I have my fair share of gripes. But I'll tell you right now, for this being a game that I typically wouldn't play, I'll never underestimate the genre again. Naturally, with all the success Hollow Knight bring, it was no surprise that Team Cherry announced they were working on a sequel, which actually started out as a DLC. But with all the resources that the success of Hollow Knight bring, it was a no-brainer to make it its own standalone title. But money wasn't the only resource they had. They also had time, because they're not a part of some big corporation. There's no stockholders to appease or publishers breathing down their necks with deadlines for game updates and trailers. So Team Cherry went radio silent for years, 7 of them to be exact. The anticipation for the game would then grow and grow to a point where people would begin to meme about whether or not it was going to be revealed at any given video game showcase, and then seemingly out of nowhere, Silksong gameplay emerges at the Nintendo Direct of all places, and it was so brief that the internet didn't even know how to react. It was almost like like they were in disbelief that it even happened. And then shortly after that, it was finally made official at Gamescom that Silksong would release in less than a month on September 4th, making it a damn near shadow drop. And if you want to talk about a game exploding, look no further than this, because this game topped 587,000 all-time peak player count on Steam, breaks every digital storefront imaginable for hours on end: Nintendo, PlayStation, Steam, Xbox. Guys, I've been playing games a long time and I've never seen anything like this. A single player Metroidvania made by 3 people broke the internet. And if that's not a statement, don't worry, because they have more accolades. It's estimated that Silksong sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 million copies at the time of this recording, which is September 10th, and that right there is enough on its own to make any gaming studio celebrate success. The world is beautiful with all of its hand-drawn artwork, the music is powerful and moving, and aside from some minor rumblings of some bosses being a skill check for people, this game is resonating with players. A content-rich title with captivating gameplay, all for $20, a saving grace when the majority of people these days live paycheck to paycheck and are getting nickeled and dimed at every corner from AAA games. It's no wonder that studios are coming out and stating that Team Cherry should have priced their game higher. They're challenging the very livelihood of AAA gaming's existence, because rather than accept that their games are overpriced, half-baked, cut-and-paste slop, they would rather blame the little guy, because it's always easier to punch down. But I don't think it's going to stick this time. I think AAA gaming is going to strongly consider bending the knee down the road. This might not be the tipping point, but it's shaking the foundation. Right now, as it stands, we are in a bubble that's ready to burst. The gaming industry is chomping at the bit to raise prices. $80 a game, masking it as things like tariffs, economy shifts, growing costs to develop games. But in reality, it's mismanagement of funds. Bloated companies that have multiple divisions that can't seem to communicate an idea for a game to bring it to fruition. And they refuse to take a second to self-reflect and see that it doesn't take millions of dollars to make a great game. It takes passion, something that seems to be completely lost on games this day, save a few titles like Expedition 33, Schedule 1, I got a few of them written down here, Peak, Blueprints, Helldivers 2. The list is stacked with amazing titles that all cost less than $50. That offer more than most AAA games. That's crazy. But if that's where you think all the BS stops, you would be mistaken, because you also have journalists trying to turn the story on how it's irresponsible for Team Cherry to not give a heads up to the industry about this game's release, about it being so affordable, that at its $20 price point, it's going to bury its indie game brethren and leave them wondering what to price their games at. But what those same journalists fail to see is that by Silksong being so affordable, more people are going to be exposed to this style of game. It's going to bring new players to the table, that is Metroidvanias. Sure, it might be like watching Attack on Titan as your first anime, then everything else may not seem or feel as good, but that's up for the player to decide. Let them enjoy this game, then let them go on Reddit or TikTok and ask the question, hey guys, I just played Hollow Knight for the first time. What game should I play that I might like that are similar to it? At least that's what anyone with half a brain should be writing, but that's not where their audacity stops, because they further add that they weren't given review copies of the game and they don't know how they're supposed to do their job, which honestly, just having to say that sentence out loud makes my blood boil. It's very clear that the people that review games in this capacity, at least, don't have the player's interests in mind at all. What they care about is getting their article out so they can make money. But one thing I personally found beautiful was this tweet by Jason Schreier, who got time to chat with Team Cherry, and they stated that the reason behind no one getting the game early was because they believed it wouldn't feel right to let people play the game early and before the people who supported the Kickstarter and allowed them to make the game in the first place. I actually also got to see a post from Sandfall Entertainment, the people behind Expedition 33, congratulating Team Cherry with some custom drawn artwork. And when I saw it, it made my heart happy. And all I could think about was game recognizes game. The little guys are standing together and they're rocking the boat. That is everything AAA gaming thought they knew. And honestly, AAA gaming is so threatened by what Silksong represents that they haven't once took a step back and considered that them pricing their game at $20 is actually a blessing. September and October are completely packed with games releasing. There's big titles and small titles. Some of them to name a few: Borderlands 4, Dying Light the Beast, Ghosts of Yotei, just to name a few. And I promise you that Silksong releasing at $40 or $60, for whatever reason, you would have seen it affect the sales of these games. You don't want to swing on Silksong like you don't want to swing on GTA 6. And I mean that from my heart. You don't want those hands. Silksong did you guys a service, and you didn't even say thank you. Listen, guys, Metroidvanias might not be for you. But what this team represents absolutely should. And it's what you should look for in studios, because they have your best interests in mind. They want to make you something good. They want to make you something that lasts, something that you could come back to. I think one of the coolest things I've learned about Team Cherry in the wake of all of this is that their game was never in development hell, something very common in the gaming space these days. They were actually the inverse of that. They were having so much fun making their game. They had so much money made from Hollow Knight that they didn't need to rush at all. They said they had more in the tank to put into Silksong. They said they could have kept going, but they realized 7 years has kind of been a long time. We should probably give them a game. You know what that means is they probably got DLC absolutely in their pocket. Like, they have stuff that they're working on. So you can expect something very similar probably as the original Hollow Knight game, more to come. And you know what? They're probably not even going to charge you for it, just like last time. I just wanted to yap about this for a little bit, guys. This is a awesome win for the gaming industry. They may be kicking and streaming, but this made a lot of gamers happy. Silksong has made a lot of people happy. And it might have brought brand new people who've never played a Metroidvania ever in their life into the genre. I think that's awesome. So that's all I got for you guys today. I know, out of pocket video, but I appreciate you all watching. If you made it to this point, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you're going to play the game, if you've already played the game, I'm still playing Hollow Knight. I'm actually probably going to stream it later. But I hope you guys like this video. I actually had a lot of fun shooting this. So catch you guys next time, and tell your people you love them. Peace.